So in front of me, I have a book that perfectly depicts healing the body of disease. It could be the replacement for so many self-help books. No disrespect to the self-help books out there. I love self-help books. But this book is so brilliant and such a wise teacher. And I love it because it's a children's book and it's a story. And it teaches us so much about health. And I want to share it with you, or at least go through it and show you how in case you need the reminder. And it is The Secret Garden. Have you ever read this book? I never had until last year. I never read it as a child. I picked it up from the library because I was curious. I wanted to visit some of the classics I never read as a kid, and I was blown away. So I read it again because it is a teacher of health. It is a teacher of healing, and we can learn so much from it. Now, I'm not saying I'm giving you any health advice, but if you stick around, you will see how this is a reminder of what we all already know, that sometimes we need a refresher on. These simple, though not always easy, movements and choices we can make in our lives to literally heal ourselves. And I want to go through it with you somewhat briefly, a refresher. And if you've never read it, that's fine too. I'll go through it with you. And I love it. I love that it's a story. I love that we have emotions and characters that we can relate to. The characters are mostly children, but they're humans and we're humans. We're all humans, so we can learn from them. And in fact, kids can teach us a lot about health and healing. And this book is really brilliant, you guys. And it's beautiful. We could, stories are the best. We learn so much from stories, even about health, which can often feel very complicated, which can often feel like, oh, I don't know what I need. How could I know what I need? Well, this is going to remind us that we do know what we need. We all know what we need and we can offer it to ourselves. Okay. So The Secret Garden, we're talking about movement, sunshine, fresh air, speaking life and wellness into yourself, having things to look forward to, having supportive people in your life who lift you up. Okay. We're talking work that delights us. We're talking being pleased with the work we do. We're talking nature. All of it is in here. And all of it is written in such a way that this book speaks life into us. So Mary is the main character. I'm going to take you through it, you guys. And you will be reminded of what you already know within. And you'll remember that you have so much power in your choices and that they can do amazing things, your choices and you. Just like I remembered when I read the book. And I love it because it's also simple. It's 100 pages. And it's a children's book, you guys. We can learn so much from children's books, I swear. So Mary is the main character. And her parents die. She lived in India. Her parents die. And she goes to live with her uncle, Archibald Craven. Now, she's defined as a sickly, unwell kid. She wasn't healthy or didn't depict health. And also, her parents didn't really give her a lot of attention. They were busy. They weren't nurturing her. And I find that interesting. Maybe she was crying out for help and love and tenderness. So she goes to her uncle's house. Her uncle is so rich. He has a mansion, 100 rooms. All the rooms are locked and closed, which is a very good representation of him because he's closed off. His wife died 10 years earlier. He's bitter. He's sad. He travels all the time. He's never home. His staff, he has staff. He's very wealthy. His staff told Mary, he's not going to hang out with you. He's not your friend. Don't even think about it. He's not going to be around. So just stay in your corner of the house. Don't wander. Don't ask questions. That's such a representation of a house that is 100 rooms, all locked and closed off. And also, Uncle Archibald Craven has a hunchback, which is kind of interesting because his heart is closed off. If you think about it, he's bitter. His wife died. It's sad. And he's curled over. I wonder if that relates at all. Just an idea. I'm not making any, declarations. But it's fun to be curious about the body and health. So she shows up, she meets the staff, and they tell her about the property and the gardens, and there's a secret garden. There's a lot of gardens, and there's one that's a secret, and you can't go in there, and don't ask. Don't ask your uncle. Don't go looking for it. Don't even think about it. But Mary is curious. And I love that about her. We love curiosity. It's a great skill. So whatever, she goes out and about. One day she's in the house. The next day she's in the house, let's say. And it's gloomy. It's a gloomy house. She's stuck in a corner of the house. She's stuck in a corner of the house. It's gloomy. And she's like, I got to go outside. And she says, if she did not go out, she would have to stay in the big gloomy house and do nothing. And so she went out. She did not know this was the best thing she could have done, for when she walked or ran along the paths, she was stirring her slow blood and making herself stronger. Because she was stirring her slow blood. Perhaps she hadn't moved much in a while. Perhaps her blood was stagnant and like a sludge. And she needed to bring life into it. And listen, she stayed outdoors nearly all day, and when she sat down to her supper at night, she felt hungry and drowsy and comfortable. Isn't that awesome? Because she was outside all day playing and running and in the sun and in the fresh air, and she was hungry and tired when she got home. Could it be that simple? Could so many of us, help our diet and sleep if we just moved more, if we went outside more? Instead, so many of us are scrolling late into the night, saying, I can't sleep. Well, I wonder why. I've done this too, so I'm not judging. I wonder why. Maybe we need to burn more energy, be outside in the sun. And she comes back to this a lot. She often says that she ate well and slept well because she's outside, wandering and running and moving her blood. So the next day, she's out and about and she meets a robin, a bird, and they kind of become friends. And she expresses to the robin that she wants to find the garden. And the robin basically shows her where the key is in the dirt because the robin and her are communicating. She digs up the key that Uncle Archibald Craven had buried when he locked the door to the garden. The secret garden has a wall around it, but she finds it in the soil. But she doesn't know where the door is because there's ivy everywhere. But the bird, she says to the robin, she's like, I wish I knew where the garden was. And the robin goes, and then a wind blew in and the ivy moved. And then she saw a door, and the door fit the key, and she opened it, and it was the garden. And everything was dead in there. It hadn't been touched in 10 years. Or so she thought it was dead. It actually wasn't. Just like so many of us. We're walking around half dead. But we're not dead, we're alive. We just need to bring new life into ourselves, and that's what Mary did. She had a plan. She wanted to garden. She wanted to plant seeds. She wanted to bring this garden back to life. She started by pulling some weeds around these flowers that were breaking through the ground. She needed tools. She needed seeds. She asked someone for help, one of the staff, and they connect her with a source named Dixon. Okay. By the way, after that day she found the garden, she slept well, she ate well, because she was out moving and grooving and doing work and weeding. So that night, actually, before she meets Dixon, she hears someone crying down the hall. And she asks one of the staff, she says, what's that crying? And they said, no more questions. Don't worry about it. But she's curious, so you better believe she's going to find out, but just not at that moment. She said, fine, but I'm just going to find out later. The next day she meets Dixon, this boy. He's a boy. All these characters are children. Did I not make that clear? He's like a staff. He works on the property. He's one with nature. He knows the animals. He knows how to care for land. He brings her tools and seeds to help her in the garden, and she shows him the secret garden. You know, they can't show Uncle Archibald because he'll lock the door and say, never go in there again, because that's where his wife died, in the garden. And he's sad. So he closes everything off, the rooms in the house, the garden, nothing. So she shows Dixon the garden, and it's their secret, and they have plans. They're going to bring it back to life. They love the garden. And they work outside, and they're pleased. They're pleased with their work. That's something we can learn from. They're pleased with their work. How many of us are not pleased with our work? We have no joy for our work. What would that do for us if we had joy for our work? Probably a lot. She said she's starting to feel better. I was once a sickly kid, but now I'm starting to feel better. She's outside. She's in the sun. She's moving her body. She's doing work she likes. She has a vision. She's bringing a garden back to life. She has a friend who she shares the garden with. She slept well. She slept well. And that night, after all day in the garden, she hears the crying again coming from the hall. She's like, I'm going to go find out what that is. She wanders. She finds the room. It's a boy in bed, another boy. It's her cousin, Colin. She has a cousin in this house with all the closed off doors. He's sick. He's unwell. He's bedridden. He needs a wheelchair. He's been in this room for years. She said, this is my cousin. And they talk and they get to know each other. And she says, I'm looking for the secret garden. She didn't say that she found the garden, because she said, I don't know if he can handle a secret, but hey, I'm looking. Now, her cousin, Colin, his dad, Uncle Archibald Craven, never visits him. He's ashamed of him. He kind of hates him because he looks like his mom and he misses his mom. He hides him away in a room and tells him he's sick, and everyone tells him he's going to die. Colin's going to die, and he believes them. And he has no muscles, and he's pale, and he never goes outside, and he's stuck in bed, and he's miserable, and he has tantrums. He's angry. And then he meets his cousin, and she says, I'm looking for a garden. She didn't say she already found it, but she says, I'm looking for a garden. He goes, I want to go to the garden. I want to see that garden someday, he whispered. Promise me you'll look for the door. I don't think I ever really wanted to see anything before, but I want to see that garden. Now he has something to look forward to. I wonder if that'll help him to heal. He has something to look forward to. He doesn't know the garden has already been found. Imagine how happy he'll be. One night, because Mary visits him every night. She's in the garden all day, visits her cousin at night, Colin. One night she's in there. They're buddies. They laugh. It says they laugh and act like healthy children. Well, they act like healthy children, and then they slowly become healthy children. Normal, healthy children, because they're acting like it. They brought new life into each other. And one day, because Colin has nurses and people helping him and doctors, and one day the doctor comes in and sees Mary there. And the doctor goes, this is what he says. He walks in. He checks Colin's pulse. Oh, I'm afraid there's been too much excitement. And excitement isn't good for you, my boy. You mustn't forget that you tire easily. I don't like his attitude. Colin says, I want to forget. She, Mary, makes me forget. He wants to forget that he's sick. Who wants to think about being sick all the time? Mary helps him to feel better. And even one of the nurses says, he looks better, actually. Let's not deny it. And the kids say, get out of here. And then they're laughing and acting like healthy children. So when she goes back to the garden the next day and sees Dickon. Now I'm wondering if it's Dickon. My mistake. Sorry. Dixon. I think it's Dickon. Anyway, let me verify this. It's Dickon. Let's fix that. Dickon. There will be no editing. She's telling Dickon about her cousin. She's like, he's in his room all the time, being told he's sick and going to die. That's not good. That's not good for anyone. Imagine how you feel when you're in your room all the time. You feel, I can't speak for you. When I spend too much time alone in my room, not going outside, I feel sad. I feel depressed. I feel lonely. I feel agitated in my body. Hello, like Colin, who has temper tantrums. So, I mean, who wouldn't feel like crap? And then when people say, you're going to die. Okay, well, I don't know a world outside of this. My dad never visits me. Oh, by the way, his dad is obsessed with worry about his son also becoming a hunchback, which is a huge problem. He's putting that fear on his kid. Like, he's going to get a hunchback like me. I can't look at him. Well, imagine how much shame a child feels when you won't even look at them. And then you put this fear on them. Imagine how that would manifest in someone's body, a child or an adult. But it's probably different with a child. So Mary's telling Dickon about her cousin. And she's thinking, perhaps if Colin had a great deal of fresh air and knew Dickon and the robin, who showed her the key, and saw things growing, he might not think so much about dying. She's so brilliant. She's like, maybe if he saw life, he would think about life, but instead he's in a dusty, dark room with the windows closed every day being told he's going to die. She's on to something. So she's in the garden working with Dickon. I have so many quotes, you guys. This might be a 30-minute video. I don't know. It's just such a great book. Okay. I bought this copy after I rented it from the library. They're also noticing, Dickon and Mary are noticing the similarities between themselves and nature. They're turning to nature for wisdom and seeing themselves in the nature. They're watching a robin make a nest, and Dickon says, us is near to being wild things ourselves. Us is nest building too. They're building nests too. They're almost wild too. They're not that far off from nature. What other bits of wisdom can we gain from nature? Maybe if we look at it, like Mary said, we'll be inspired to live. We'll be inspired about life because it's always blooming and moving and changing. Mary whispered to Dickon when they're out in the garden, do you think he wants to die, being Colin? No, says Dickon, but he wishes he'd never been born. That's too relatable. That's too relatable. So many people don't want to die, but they're not living. They're kind of at this in-between, half awake, half asleep life. I know because I've been there. What would happen if we brought new life into our bodies, minds, and souls, spirits? They said his father would like to forget he is on earth. For one thing, he's afraid he'll look like him and find out he has a hunchback. So there's a lot of shame in the family. There's a lot of hiding. There's a lot of hiding away, closing off, hearts with walls around them. Yeah. Colin is so afraid he won't even sit up. I'm not judging. It's just this is all so relatable. We protect ourselves out of fear and then we don't live. He won't even sit up in his bed. He's a child laying in bed because he's being told, well, if you get a hunchback, that's bad. You don't want to be a hunchback. So he doesn't even sit up. It's kind of upsetting. I'm upset now. Dickon said if he was out here, he wouldn't be watching for lumps to grow on his back. He'd be watching for buds to break on the rose bushes, and he'd likely be healthier. Yeah, Dickon and Mary get it. Maybe if he was watching the rose bushes bloom, he would think about life and not just wait to see if the lump appears on his back. Watching it, maybe even willing it into existence. And this actually comes up, okay? Because Mary goes to Colin's room and he's having a temper tantrum, which makes sense. If you're not moving your body and you're stuck in bed and you're being told you're going to die and your dad won't visit you and The only people caring for you are nurses and doctors, and you need fresh air. And you're being told you're going to have a hunchback. It's like, what are you supposed to believe and think and feel? So he's having a temper tantrum, and he's like, there's a lump. There's a lump. I have a hunchback, and I shall die. Colin says that. And I shall die. I felt a lump. I felt it. He's sobbing. And this thing happens between him and Mary where he's like, look at it. Look at it. I have a lump. It's there. Meaning the hunchback is being formed. And she says, let me see it. Because she's kind of fierce. She's like, there's no BS with me. Love that about her. Curious girl, no BS. Excuse me. He takes off his shirt so she can look. He has no muscles because he sits in bed. He feels weak. She looks at his back. She said, there's no lump. There's no lump. Meanwhile, all these health professionals are like, oh, you're sick. You're going to die. You can't get too excited. Don't get too excited. Fun police. And she says, there's not even a lump. There's no lump. And he actually believed her. Because he's like, well, I trust you. You're my friend and you're a no BS gal. Maybe there's no lump. He says, do you think I could live to grow up? He asked Mary. Actually, a nurse chimed in and she says, if you don't give in to your temper and you get some fresh air, maybe you will. He said, oh, Mary, if I could get into the garden, I think I should live to grow up. He's starting to have this hope through this friendship, actually, with his cousin. Do you suppose you could tell me again what you imagine it looks like in the garden? He falls asleep to her telling him. He has dreams now, huh? He's opening to a new reality, a new perspective through his new vibrant connection with Mary. She says, there's no lump. What are you going to do about it? There's no lump. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to live? I should bet you will. What does this say? I'm referring to my notes, obviously. Maybe, yeah. So Mary sees Dickon the next day. Dickon says, come springtime, it seems as if all the world is calling, and that poor lad, Colin, is lying shut up and seeing so little that he gets to thinking of things that sets him screaming. We must go get him out of there. We must get him soaked through with sunshine, and we mustn't lose no time about it. So they care about Colin, and they're looking out for him. There's something there, you guys. And Mary agrees. They're on the same page. They're good friends. They're good friends. They're not speaking sickness into him. They want to speak life into him. You don't even have a lump. Let's think about life. Look at the buds. Let's remember life. Let's get our slow blood moving. Mary goes to visit Colin, and she tells him, she finds out that he can handle a secret, and she tells him about the garden. She says, we found it. He says, oh, Mary, I shall live to see it. Shall I live to see it? And Mary says, of course you will. Don't be silly. See, she's no BS. She says, of course you will. Decide that you will. Decide that you will. Don't even be silly about it. Yes, period. Yes, period. He's still asking, but he now has this dream and vision. And she's saying, of course you will, period. I love that. She's speaking life into her cousin. On the first day of spring, she visits Colin, and she says, spring is here. She opens the window for him. And she says, that's fresh air. Lie on your back and draw in long breaths of it. That's what Dickon does. Dickon's an outdoor guy. He knows what feels good. That's what Dickon does when he's lying outside. He says he feels it in his veins and it makes him strong, and he feels like he could live forever and ever. So she tells Colin to do the same, and Colin now has fresh air. He hasn't had fresh air in this room, this dusty room where people tell him he's going to die. Imagine how you would feel. If the window wasn't open, you never saw nature, you never felt the sun, and everyone is telling you you're going to die and your dad won't even visit you. I mean, Think about it. How would you feel? Or some variation of this. They decide they're going to take Colin outside. They have a plan. They're not going to tell anyone. They're going to push him in his wheelchair to the garden. And they do. And when they're walking him out, he naturally lifts his head and chest to the sun. It's just so human. We all want to do that. When it's sunny, we want to expose ourselves to it because our bodies want it. We want to feel the heat, the warmth, the rays. We want to smell the fresh air, most of us. So he's doing that. Colin kept lifting his thin chest to draw it all in. It's pretty beautiful. I'm obsessed with this book. He gets to the garden. He sees buds. He sees life. He sees the vision. He's alive. You guys, he's alive. He says, I shall get well. I shall get well, he cried out. Mary, Dickon, I shall get well and I shall live forever and ever. He decided. He made a decision, he said, and he's speaking life into himself. He's outside in the garden looking at life with his friends who support him and lift him up and want the best for him. And he said, I shall be well. I shall get well. He has a plan. He has a vision. I've seen spring now, said Colin, and I'm going to see summer. I'm going to see everything. I'm going to see everything grow here. I'm going to grow here myself. Forget about it. He's decided. Everything has changed. Everything has changed. Everything has changed. And Dickon, he said, that thou will. Because he's a good friend. And he said, yeah, obviously, I believe in you. They said you're going to die. No, not on my watch. And Colin says, it was actually nice to be awake today. It was actually nice to be awake. How many of us aren't even happy to be awake or get up? Who would feel well if that was your life? We wake up and we say, this life. Who's going to feel well if that's the situation? What can we do to make our lives lovely, beautiful, sweet, tender, alive? What can we offer ourselves? What can we bring into our world so that we say, it's actually nice to be awake instead of just sleeping all the time? And then Colin says, I want to stand. Because remember, he's in a wheelchair. He said, I want to stand. And Dickon helps him. And Dickon's like, I know you can do it. Because Dickon is a friend. Mary and Dickon are good friends. He said, I know you can do it. He helps him up. Okay. He said, I knew I could do it. And Dickon says, I knew you could do it. Because we have your back. See the importance of friends. Imagine if his friends were like, you can't. You can't. No, you can't. Just sit down. Some people have people around them like that. You need people around you who support you and lift you up. One person. And you can be that for yourself. But it's challenging when the people around you are saying, no, you can't stand up. Sit back down. Stay inside. You're sick. You're gonna die. Don't get too excited. Think about it. That can be toxic for someone. Colin says, everyone thinks I'm going to die. I am not. I am not going to die. Dickon. That Dickon, you guys. He said, thou die? Nothing of the sort. So they go to the garden. Every day it's not raining, they go to the garden. They get Colin, they go to the garden. Colin has dreams, he has visions, he has things to look forward to. I will grow in this garden as it grows. I have decided I am well. Dickon teaches him exercises and he starts to grow a little stronger. Every day he grows a little stronger every day. He practices his exercises. He practices standing. He gets in the sun. He gets the fresh air. He sleeps well. He's hungry when he has dinner. He sleeps well. He wakes up. He says, oh, life. Let's go. Colin knows that he's not going to tell his doctor. Someone asked him, what are you going to tell your doctor? What's the doctor going to say? And Colin says, well, I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm not telling anybody until I am strong, until I am healed. And then what do they say? I'll already have done the work. I'll already be where I want to be, and they can't say anything. I will not tell anyone before I get there. And the thing I love about this is these are the people speaking sickness into him. His father is neglecting him. They're telling him he's sick and going to die. Why would he tell people his plan? The doctor told him you can't even get excited. So he knows. He says, no, I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm just going to show them the work I've done. Okay? And he did. Every day he grew stronger and stronger and healthier, and he could stand, and he did it on his own. And he showed his friends, and they said, I knew you could do it. And he did. And guess what? When his dad came home from his travels, he was out traveling, he said, hey, Dad, and they hugged, and he was healthy, and Mary was healthy, and they were out in the sun tending to the garden. And by the way, his dad was happy about the garden. He was ready to open his heart again, and his son was there to greet him, and Mary helped. Mary helped, and Dickon helped. And think about it. These kids were alone when they were unwell, in their rooms without their parents, without nurturing. Colin was in a dusty room, being told he was sick and dying. And all these kids healed together with support in the sun, in nature, with the animals, looking at life, looking at blooming rose bushes, running, playing, sleeping well, having visions, having things to look forward to, speaking life into themselves, saying, I am well, while the friends say, yeah, you are. Of course. I love it. These are such reminders for our own lives. These are things that can inspire us to find people who support us and lift us up, to speak life into ourselves, speak health into ourselves, decide we are well. Make plans, have a vision, have things to look forward to. Decide you'll grow with the plants and be there at summertime and fall and winter and spring. Decide. Move your body, move your blood, run around. Don't stay inside. Don't stay in the gloomy house. Be well, act like it. Be like the children, laughing, acting like normal, healthy children. And then they became it. It's a beautiful thing. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying change happens overnight. And I'm not giving health advice, but you know what I mean. You hear what I'm saying. This message from this book is so sweet. It's wisdom at its finest. Nature, healing, health, coming back from the walking dead, essentially. So many of us are half asleep, wishing we were alive. We don't want to die, but we're not living. So how can we help ourselves to live? I got so much from this book, and that's why I wanted to share it. These amazing lessons, these amazing wisdom. Move, get outside, do work you love, that you're pleased with. Be hungry when you eat. Go to bed ready to sleep. Wake up with something to look forward to. Do work you love. Do work that brings you joy. Surround yourself with good people. Get outside. Get in the fresh air. Open your windows. Have visions. Speak life into yourself. Speak wellness into yourself. Decide, I am well. They told me I'm going to die, but I'm not going to die. I'm going to live. I have decided. I am well. I shall live forever in the company of good people, out in the sun in the garden, looking at the rose bushes bloom, reminding me of life. and I'll live with them. It's a beautiful thing. Read this book if you haven't. Let me know what you think. Have you read it? Did you pick up the same message I picked up? Are my nails dirty? Oh, gosh. Okay. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Come back for more. I'll find what other healing, health lessons there are in media and share them, along with my own stories and whatever else we pick up along the way. Take care. Be well.